Hello, everyone. Listen, guys, last night on the live stream, we were talking about mathematically how the United Kingdom is over. The UK is doomed right now, guys. Okay. So I'm going to talk about now what we were talking about last night on the live stream. And I'm just going to break this down to you guys, purely the numbers, the maths. And if anybody's out there and they want to challenge me on this, please put it in the comments, guys. Okay, because right now I'm saying that somewhere there's a spreadsheet, and on that spreadsheet they've got all this data, and they're saying, yeah, it's pretty much game over right now. Just people don't understand that it's already game over. Before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit those bell notifications down there, because ultimately it's only your fine fingers that help this channel grow. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we will just get into this. And let me stop my phone there because my phone's ringing and that was a little bit awkward. Right, so let me just break this down to you now, guys. I'm talking about mass migration into the United Kingdom. Let's start with the basics, okay? So this week, not this week, next week or whenever it was, 26, we've got the budget coming, and taxes are already creeping up. The 22 billion black hole that the government said they inherited. Well, buckle up, buttercup, because some estimates are actually putting that now at over 100 billion. So 100 billion. That's not a rounding up error, guys. It really isn't. That's like a national emergency. Think what I could do with 100 billion. I'd be so good with 100 billion. I'd have my castle, a moat, my own fleet of aircraft that have a runway into a mountain. But, we have a national emergency, guys, with the debt that we are spiraling out of control. Now, layer on top of this illegal migration. And I'm not trying to demonize anyone here. I'm really not. Back in 2022, I left Ukraine with the refugees. I was there with women and children and, people who are fleeing war. Absolutely. I'm not trying to demonize anyone. What I'm just giving you guys right now is the numbers, the actual physical the cost. We have to talk about it, guys. We really do need to talk about this cost because somebody is paying for that. And who's paying for that? I'm paying for it. You're paying for this. People who are working extra shifts to try and get money for Christmas. People who are trying to make ends meet. Pensioners choosing between heating or eating. And they're saying, oh, no, we're not putting the heating on this until it drops to -5 because we're buying jumpers and hats. They're the people who are paying for it. Now, I'm going to come on to these numbers in a minute, guys, and I will share with you guys a screen in a second, but I'm going to give you these numbers and then I'll share with you guys a screen, okay? So some numbers that I've got from the internet are claiming, and I will share a screen with you guys in a minute, that the yearly cost per migrant that comes over, so all these people coming over on the boats, each one of those people are costing the UK taxpayer £41,000 per year. Now that's housing, healthcare, food, welfare, education, legal processing. It's not one-off. It's not a one-off. That is every year. That's a lot of money, guys. Trust me. And when I share with you guys a screen in a second, you'll understand how the depths of this problem. So let's just do the maths, and we are doing Raven maths, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel, I like doing Raven maths. It's not always right, but it always works. So let's do the maths. So let's just say 10,000 migrants is 410 million a year. 50,000 migrants is 2.2 billion and some change. 100,000 migrants is 41 billion per year. Now, we're not talking about 100,000 migrants in total. We are talking about this compounding year on year. Literally every day, every time there's more of these migrants turning up on our shores, or maybe they've overstayed their visas, this is what it's costing us, guys. The numbers are absolutely phenomenal. Now, when I I saw one article and I thought, wow, 41,000, that is ridiculous per year. So I went on to AI, and I'll share this with you now, guys. I just went onto the AI and I said, right, okay, I'll share it with you guys now so you guys can understand. So I spelt it wrong, obviously, because I do Raven maths, not Raven spelling. So I asked AI, how much does each illegal migrant cost the UK taxpayer per year? Now, I just want to jump down here, guys. And I just want to go to this here. In fact, yeah. Hang on. So the average nightly cost per person in asylum hotels was £118.87 by March 2025. So that is 43,000 there is just on hotels. Now, so the number, I would say the number is potentially higher. I would say the actual number is potentially higher. Here it says the estimate cost of supporting someone's asylum accommodation, including hotels, which have higher costs, is around 31,000 per person per year. But, what I'm getting at here is the numbers could actually be higher. The numbers could actually be a lot higher than I was saying. So when I was saying 41,000, and then I had to go back and double check it. I was actually a little bit shocked because I think that 41,000 could actually be lowballing. Anyway, let's continue. Now, let's stack that against a potential 100 billion deficit, net zero costs, NHS backlogs, crumbling infrastructure, defense spending. Like, how long can we last? I'm not being, and I don't want to sound cruel or like I'm negative or I'm, I just want this to be a focus about the numbers, guys, okay? So whether you are massively woke, and you're like, all migrants welcome, and it doesn't matter where you live, everybody can come to the United Kingdom and we'll pay for you. How long does this last? And and these people need to understand that at some point, and I would speculate that somewhere somebody's got a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet is saying, right, on this date or when we reach this amount, it's over. Because the numbers just are not adding up, guys, and at some point it's going to collapse. So like I said, I don't want this video to be to appear that I'm being cruel, but at some point the outgoings are going to exceed the incomings. And that is just the reality, guys, okay? The debts are compounding. We are having services collapsing. Social contracts are frayed. And then what? You can understand why people are angry. You can understand why, like nanans, my nan and granddad, when they were alive, they were saying, we used to go around to the house, so you could see your breath. And they'd be walking around in a hat and gloves, and they'd be saying, oh, it's not cold. And these same nanans and granddads and people who potentially fought in the Second World War have given into this system all their life, and they're driving past these hotels and they're having their 3 meals a day with the windows open. How long is this sustainable, guys? Literally, like mathematically, how long is this sustainable? But we have seen this before. Rome, Weimar. We can look back where, we can look back at other places where things go wrong. And you know what, guys? History doesn't care about good intentions. History doesn't care about your wokeness. Mathematics does not care about how woke you are and how your DEI counters going or your ESG rating. That doesn't care, guys. And if there's anybody on here, guys, who can, like somebody who understands modern monetary theory, and they want to put it in the chat, say, Sean, actually, it's not going to collapse because of this. Please, I really want an alternate view of this, because collapse right now, guys, it isn't collapse of Britain isn't a conspiracy theory. It's written on a spreadsheet somewhere. I promise you, I don't have the information, but somewhere in government they will have this. I guarantee it, on a spreadsheet, and they'll be saying, right, okay, when GDP drops to here and migration hits here, there's no way back. And I would say we are rapidly approaching that as we speak right now, guys, okay? And that spreadsheet is probably flashing all kinds of crazy colors. Now, I don't have the numbers that the government will have, you know, but I can see the direction that we are traveling, guys, okay? And I just wanted to get this out as a, you know, I just wanted to get this out as a standalone video because I only see one way right now. And if I'm wrong, please put it in the chat. If somebody can say, oh, Sean, we can sustain paying £41,000 per person per year because, and especially as we are now, you know, with the new taxes coming and more people who are paying their way, more people who are paying into the system are leaving. And the hard truth is, I really do see that universal basic income could be the only way out. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep this relatively short. I don't want to waffle too long. I think I've got my point across. Make sure you like, share this video, throw a comment in there, and I will go to Mag2Grid, and I will see you guys later.